That hurt. More verticality. Recording in progress. All right. All right, here we go. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. I think that was pretty good timing, Brett. Could have been worse. Watch Pete's show today. He keeps talking about this 5-3-2 we need to try out. I'm thinking, hey, dude, I agree, but I mean, I'd like to see a 4-2-3-1. They're all 4-2-2-2. There are all kinds of things I like to see him try, but I don't think it's happening. But we keep hearing about it, and I just think the important thing is that Pete was saying that this is his opinion. He doesn't really think that's what Gregg will do, and I'd have to say
it's
yes.
funny because I didn't get pulled into it. I voluntarily jumped into a conversation that had nothing to do with me today on Twitter about our number 9 situation, and they're bouncing back and forth like, which one's better, Pepe or Ferreira? And when you look at the goals and assists per 90, they're like almost spot on. Like I think Pepe had like a goal / assist every like 215 minutes, and Ferreira was like every 225 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like almost identical. But
who's best? How about Pepe and Ferreira?
So no, you stole my point.
Oh shit! Sorry,
so
my bad.
They're going. This person's better. Oh, this person's the eye test. This, and I go. It's hard to compare the two because they're two different types of strikers, and they would probably benefit from playing alongside each other in a 2-striker formation.
With one as a 9 and maybe one as a 10.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or second striker.
Yeah.
Playing underneath.
Yeah. So again, stuff we'll never see in the current reign of Berhalter. So we all got to accept that. But it's fun to talk about the dark side of Twitter.
My only problem with Pete continuing to talk about this 4-3-3-1 is that he needs to say this is probably a hopeless proposition. He does say it's his pick or what he wants to, but he also needs to add, this is my pick and it's probably hopeless. But here's what I'd like to see.
I mean, we did that too when we came up. What would be our formation?
But we clearly said it was hopeless. We clearly labeled it hopeless.
There's no hope.
This is not going to happen in any universe that Gregg Berhalter is involved with. There's not. We're not going to see a 4-2-3-1. We're not going to see a 4-2-2-2. It's not happening. No empty buckets happening. And I just think that just needs to be something people need to be more clear about. Like, even if they're saying this is just my pick, it's not Berhalter's. I would say, and it's not these are my picks and not Berhalter's, because Berhalter is not going to do this, because that's not going to happen. And people need to say that, because I don't think people realize this is a guy who has a very specific philosophy, and it's just not going to change that much.
But he's tried a 2-striker formation once, and I think he tried it with DK and Zardes. What a terrible tandem that is.
Yeah,
let's get 2 players that arguably play very similar styles. Although I would hold DK over Zardes in that sense, as far as an actual target striker. But you play 2 very similar style strikers. Nah, that's never going to work. You need opposites work off each other.
Yeah, and guess what? If he's only played 3 in the back, the last time was a way back, and it was a complete failure. With Adams as a right back. Complete disaster. Absolute disaster.
Ended up in one of our best wins, though.
I know. But, yeah, once we said, no, we're not doing that shit anymore. Pete keeps saying that, like, between now and the World Cup, we got to learn to play at least in one other formation. I agree with Pete. We should be able to do that. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Is there going to be a 4-1-2-3?
I do have to say that he also still thinks Brooks has a chance.
Oh, Pete?
Yeah. No, he doesn't. I think that fucking shit's dead. Unless we really are planning to play 3 in the back at any point during the World Cup, then maybe Brooks gets there, as long as he promises not to bitch and complain when he doesn't start, which he does do when he doesn't start and he's in the roster. So, yeah, I just don't see it right now. And I mean, I'll have to be proven wrong. But we've been right about Brooks most of the time, except for the one time I thought, they might come back here this time. No.
It's one of those things. Obviously, we have our guarantees. We have our Richards, we have our Zimmerman, and we have, as of right now, Miles Robinson. So that fourth person option is up in the air, and it could range between a McKenzie, a Long, or an EPB even. I mean, he got another start today, or not today, this weekend.
CCV?
I mean, so CCV was never the fastest center back either. So I can't imagine him getting called in this late into the cycle. Even to get a look at, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that. I just think that Greg looks at the Scottish Premier League and is like, whatever. So you played great against Livingston or Hibs or whomever. Not that impressed by it. You should be playing great against Livingston. They suck.
And that's kind of the big talking point as far as when you start seeing all these MLS players going over to Scotland. And it's like, yeah, that's depending on the team you're going to, that's quite the lateral move, if not a decline to an extent.
Yeah.
But on top of that, you make the argument that, well, you know, you get your foot in Europe. And if you play well, you may be able to get out of SPL and into another lateral league or slightly above, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. But look at Sands since he's been at Rangers.
Started off pretty strong.
Barely much playing time so far.
Yeah,
barely.
What happened there? That's weird. Did he have an injury that caused him to get off the field? Because I remember in the first couple games he played, and I thought he played okay.
No, he's in the 18 all the time. He was in the 18 this weekend. Was it Monday? Might have been Monday instead of this weekend, but still, he played in that game against CCV for the FA Cup Scottish final.
Yep.
Or he didn't play in it. He rode Pine for 18. And guess what? When Celtic was up or Rangers was up in the game with minutes to go, instead of bringing in James Sands as the defensive midfielder, they brought in Scott Arfield, a 33-year-old Canadian, not James Sands. James Sands rode Pine for 90, folks. But Arfield, 33, over the hill, pretty much over the hill at this point.
At 33, yeah. I imagine having gone back and rewatched the highlights of the Qatar game for our live segment. It really was made apparent that was a really bad game for James Sands. So it's funny because there were a number of games, especially in the group stage of the Gold Cup, that were like, you know, this guy, he's got potential. He's got potential. And then it kind of went to crap when the formation had to change because Zimmerman got injured. And then he was never really quite the same. And then his Honduras match was horrible.
James Sands is
now he's not playing.
He's not playing for Rangers.
So
he will ride Pine, and he's going to need a loan to like Hearts or Hibernian.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he finds his way back to MLS before too long.
Yeah.
That seems to be the common thread, that there's a lot of players that would go over to the lower leagues, not play, and then all of a sudden, for one reason or another, find their way back. And it could be that, you know, they were homesick during the whole COVID issue. They seemed isolated. That seems to be a common thread for some players heading back to MLS right now. But with Sands, it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't get any playing time with Rangers, that he may find his way back to MLS before too long.
Could be. I would recommend that he stay in Europe if that's what he wanted to really do. And that if that means playing for Hearts of Midlothian next year, go ahead and do it. Just go do it. I don't think they're going to load them to Hearts because Hearts is one of those teams that
it's teeter in that third and fourth spot. Yeah.
Like they're right on the your asshole, and you're like, I don't want that motherfucker chopping on my butt and proving his point. So I don't know. You might end up in Livingston with Sebastian Soto for all I know.
Yeah,
it could happen.
Real quick.
Oh, we got
two things. One, I wanted to bring this up earlier in the show before we got too off on the tangent here, but Casanova and the live stream answered your question as far as what show in the 90s Johnny Depp was in.
21 Jump Street. Yep.
So
let's do that. Let's end this fucker. Hey, we will see you. Thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing it with grandmother. We're going to be back with
comment
one more
down below.
show.
Check out the links in the description as well, guys.
Yeah, no. Comment down below on Brett's dick, literally, with a pen.
Small print.
Well, there's not much space. All right, good night. That hurt. More verticality. Recording in progress. All right.